It is safe to say the 2025 PGA Show did not go at all like I was expecting it to. The video we were going to shoot was this one. Welcome to the 2025 PGA Show here in Orlando, where the weather is absolutely terrible. I thought I was getting a sunny vacation, and no, just getting cold and rain. But the good news is inside this building, well, there's complete chaos. This is the biggest PGA show I've ever been to. Like, I went 2015 to 2019, every year was a little bit smaller, and this year, it just seems bigger. So if that's any indication on where the state of golf is, then we're in a pretty good place. But I'm gonna show you 10 of my favorite things I have seen so far at the show. We might bump into a few friends, we'll see what they're into, and let's just go have some fun. Let's go see what golf has in store for us here in 2025. Okay, so if you guys follow my channel, you know that the Flightscope Mevo Plus is one of my all-time favorite golf products. Well, Flightscope has just released this. This is the i4 rangefinder, and it's gonna be really interesting because it's gonna take your data from your launch monitor and it's going to input it into the rangefinder on the course. It's gonna give you club recommendations. It's gonna give you more accurate slope information. And it's really just kind of taking your practice and bringing it to the course in a way that we haven't really seen before. So Foresight, Bushnell also have their own versions of this that have come out, so it'll be interesting to put the two together and see how they compare, but this seems to be one of the kind of big technology stories from the show this year, is integrating your practice data onto the course, and both Flightscope and Bushnell, Foresight, they're doing it in different ways, so it's gonna be really interesting to see how it turns out. Great concept, great idea, but a day and a half in, I realized I had not shot a single second of video. So that was gonna be a problem. So instead, you are getting this video where I'm just gonna tell you about my experience. I'm gonna tell you about some of the things that I liked. I'm gonna tell you about some of the conversations I had. I'm gonna talk about some of the things that I noticed being there, just about the state of the golf industry, and bring you along for that journey. And then I'm gonna tell you about where I am now and why I'm doing it here. First thing I noticed at the PGA Show this year was that it was bigger than it had ever been. So I started going in 2015, and the first time I went, I was just blown away by the sheer size of it. But then every year that I went, it just got a little bit smaller and smaller. So by the time that I went in 2020, it was honestly a fraction of the size it initially was. And what I noticed this year is that it was back. Like, last year was pretty good. It was good size. It felt like things were trending in the right direction. This was the biggest PGA show I've ever been to. So on top of just being bigger, there also was more excitement than a while. Pretty much everyone I talked to was really positive about the show. They were positive about their meetings. They were positive about the direction that golf was going, which I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of surprised about. You know, after having this huge boom during COVID, you know, everybody's kind of predicted, it's like, well, maybe golf is gonna pull back a little bit. You know, the pro tours, they're totally fractured. There's all this different stuff going on. And so I kind of expected a little bit of that to carry over into just the vibe and the mood. But what I found was that just about everybody I talked to was stoked. They were stoked about the potential. They were excited about their places in golf, regardless of whether or not this was in travel, equipment, you know, tech, courses, whatever. It didn't matter. People just genuinely had a really positive view of where golf is and where golf is going. So with all of that excitement and my excitement, I had a really good show. Let's talk about some of the things that I saw that I'm really interested in or intrigued by. And one, and this is I'm not sure if this is gonna be a positive or a negative yet, but this was obviously a trend that we saw, and that's technology companies that are expanding their zone of expertise into other elements of golf. So one of the best examples of this is with Flightscope and Bushnell, who are taking personalized launch monitor data, combining that to give you personalized yardages on your rangefinder on the course. Pretty much that same concept. Flightscope is doing that too with their new i4 rangefinders. So Flightscope has always been a launch monitor company, and now they're jumping into the rangefinder world. So these are two companies that are both doing very similar things, and I'm excited to see how it plays out, but I'm also skeptical, because when you think about it, you know, these launch monitors can be, you know, thousands of dollars. If you are a player where you're willing to invest thousands of dollars into a golf launch monitor, do you really need your rangefinder to tell you what club you should be hitting? Both of these on-course rangefinders have wind detection built in, so it's going to be able to tell you how hard the wind is blowing. And they have slightly different implementations, but this data that they're getting, it's coming from a weather tower that could be a mile away, 5 miles away, 20 miles away. So how accurate is that data actually? And how much more useful is it than taking a blade of grass and throwing it up and kind of getting a feel for it? So it's cool tech, don't get me wrong. I'm excited to test it out. I'm just curious to see if it's going to be as beneficial as these companies are leading us to believe it is. And so we'll find out. On the flip side of that is Caddy Talk, which you probably know. They have a triangulating rangefinder. Well, the new rangefinder that they released at the show, it had a little pop-up sensor, and it pops up, and it reads the wind exactly where you are. Again, useful? Gimmicky? Both? I don't know, but that's one that I'm excited to take a look at. Sticking with the tech side of things, I was really surprised by some of the releases from Garmin that kind of came out of nowhere. So they're releasing 2 watches, the new S44 and the S50. The S44 wasn't quite as much of a surprise. The S42 was getting a little long in the tooth, was due for an update, and so it's nice to see that they've got kind of like an entry-level to mid-range golf watch that's coming out. But the S50 totally caught me off guard because it is kind of introducing a new tier of Garmin golf watches. It's not the super high-end S70, but it's got more features than the regular S42. But I thought the thing that was most interesting about it is its form factor. It is super thin, it's super light, and it comes with a super lightweight nylon band that's different than the rubber bands that you get with most Garmin golf watches. And while the S70 is Garmin's flagship golf watch, this new S50, if you join the Garmin Golf membership for $99 a year, it unlocks all of the golf features of its highest end golf watches. So the fact it does that is really cool, and the fact it's completely different in terms of form and features than those other watches, I think is really intriguing. So that was one of my favorite tech things that I saw. On top of that, they also released the G20, which is a solar-powered handheld GPS. That's the one that really kind of caught me off guard. Was not expecting to see that one. I have my questions on how well it's going to work, but once I get it in hand, we'll do a review and we'll find out. All right, in just a second, we're going to talk different categories, but you may be wondering, where am I? Well, you know, considering it's normally cold and rainy and depressing this time of year in Portland, I was like, well, I'm going to Florida, where of course it's going to be sunny and beautiful, which if you saw that opening video, it most definitely was not. It has been very cold and very rainy here. But my thought process was, I'm going to go to the show and then I'm going to stick around for a few days and go play some golf. So I am in West Palm Beach for the first time. I'm here at the Belgrove, which is a brand new resort. It just opened like a month and a half ago. The rooms here are very nice. I've got this massive balcony. The food has been great. And this pool that's sitting right in front of me is beautiful. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be playing Dutchman's Pipe, which is the golf course associated with this. This is a brand new, very high-end private club, but if you stay at the Belgrove, you can get access to it. So I'm excited to check out the course and see if it lives up to expectations. And I'm also, before I leave on this trip, going to be playing Payntr National, which is one of the biggest new private clubs to open over the last couple of years. So I'll have content about all of that. But for now, let's get back to talking about the PGA Show. So while there were some great tech releases that came out, I think one of the things that surprised me most were how many like apparel and footwear releases that came out that I'm pretty excited by. So one of the biggest ones is Payntr Golf. I just got my pair of the 87 SCs. These are one of the most beautiful shoes in golf. Payntr has always done a great job of building an insane amount of tech and performance into their shoes. But with this shoe, I feel like this is the first time they kind of bridged that gap from performance to also just creating a really, really good looking shoe. Not to say their other ones weren't good looking, but I really like the way this looks. Along with Payntr, True Linkswear also had a ton of new stuff coming out. They're doing their first spikeless shoe, they're doing a training shoe, and they're doing a boot, which I don't know if you remember this. There used to be an old shoe called the Nike Air Bandit, which was a fully waterproof, like big high top shoe for gnarly weather. Well, I don't know why they got rid of it, but they did. And so True has this boot that's coming out that's gonna be waterproof that I feel like is going to kind of replace what that Air Bandit used to be. So being in the Pacific Northwest, playing in a lot of wet weather, this is a shoe that I'm actually personally really excited for. They also continue to be the forefront of brands that are pushing all day golf apparel and golf shoes. So I saw a number of apparel items from them that are looking really good and just a much wider lineup of shoes than I was expecting. So I'm really excited to get my hands on all of those and review them later in the year. This year when it comes to bags, I didn't see any brand new bags that blew me away, but some of my favorite brands just really iterating on things they're already doing really well. So Vessel is streamlining their lineup, making some updates, changing some names to make things all a little bit more cohesive. They're also working some carbon fiber into their bags in interesting ways, which I absolutely loved. And they continue to be just kind of the best in the business in terms of premium luxury golf bags. So I'm really excited to check out some of the future releases that they've got coming. And then also Jones Sportswear. So Jones last year released the Rover, which in my opinion is probably the best walking bag out there. And this year, while they don't have any brand new golf bags like they did with the Rover last year, they continue to update the colorways and they do a better job than anyone in the industry with their colors. You know, just beautiful, cohesive across their entire line of products. And every year I see new colors and it makes me want to get another bag, even if I've already got that same bag. So the way they tell those stories through their colors, I think is really, really smart and really engaging. And so even though they don't have a brand new bag, I think there's gonna be a lot of people that are still excited because so many of these look so good and do look different from ones of the previous generation. Okay, it's getting kind of windy out here, and I have no idea if this background music has been coming through on the microphone, so let's finish this up inside. So overall, the PGA Show this year was great. Saw some interesting things, saw some iterative things, saw some things that I don't think are going to go anywhere as usual. But for me, I used the opportunity, like I said, kind of less as an opportunity for content and more of an opportunity for connections. You know, as I'm trying to figure out what does the future of Breaking 80 look like? Like, where's this going? What do I need to focus on? Because I am at peak bandwidth right now. But as a guy who pretty much does this whole thing by himself, my dad does my video editing, and then everything else is me. And so I'm at like peak bandwidth. So I've got to start paring things back. I've got to start being a little bit more diligent about protecting my time. And I got to start figuring out where does it make the most sense to invest in when it comes to Breaking 80 and what we're doing. What's working? What am I excited about? And so a lot of my PGA Show was talking to people that I trust and people that I respect and some of the brands that I work with. It was just having those conversations where it was like, hey, how's it going? Here's where I'm at. Here's what I'm thinking about. What are your opinions? You've seen my stuff. You've worked with me. Where do you think I should go? And so I started to get a lot more clarity and insights around just some of the things that I should be doing personally and thinking about this year. So it really, I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting to come in, I'm gonna make 10 YouTube videos, like all about each of the brands I talk to. And quickly I realized that the value at the PGA Show for me this year was not necessarily doing that, but more about continuing to hone, build those relationships, have conversations, and see where things go. So anyway, that was the PGA Show 2025. I'm going to go enjoy my afternoon at the Belgrove. Actually, I think I've decided I'm going to go into West Palm Beach and maybe go play some par 3 golf. So I might shoot a little video about my experience doing that as well, but I hope you enjoyed this slightly different, slightly all over the place take on the 2025 PGA Show. With that, my name is Sean Ogle. I'm the founder of this thing here at Breaking 80. We talk about cool golf products, golf travel, golf courses. If you're into those types of things, maybe hit the subscribe button. I think you're gonna dig it, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace. Thank you, Instagram, for the recommendations. I think every single person that made recommendations of what I should do with a day in Palm Beach was come to the Palm Beach Par 3. So here we are. We're on the 13th tee box, and I just can't even understand how this place exists. It would be like building a golf course in the middle of Central Park. You've got like some of the most valuable land anywhere, and this awesome Par 3 exists. The front 9 mostly plays on the other side of the road on the lake. You cross over here, and the back 9 is right on the ocean. I mean, this is pretty cool. I don't know, I'm not gonna lie. If you told me that this driving range that's over here was on the most valuable piece of property of any driving range in the world, I wouldn't necessarily second guess that. I wouldn't be surprised. LACC maybe that's got more, but pretty wild.